Today we'll be talking about a very special anime, Violet Evergarden, and we'll be looking at this art book, The Official Design Works. Now if we take a look, this book has a bit of this cover here, and it's very unusual. I haven't seen this for any art book before, so I'm not entirely sure what this might mean. I believe this is a legitimate book, but I haven't seen that for art books before, because usually covers cover the whole thing, or there's like an obi, which is like a strip down here, so it's quite unusual to see that. Now here we have the actual book. For those who don't know, Violet Evergarden is an anime by Kyoto Animation, and it's beautiful. You can watch it on Netflix. It's very accessible. Lots of people like it. So you can see just a little bit more of the cover here. And the cover again. Just close that back up. And with Violet Evergarden, there's very little in terms of things to do for fans to collect. So aside from this art book, there's really nothing else. There's no figurines, there's no like spin-off games or anything of that nature. So this is the only official art book there is. Now I want to mention that there is a bootleg, and the bootleg will have a slightly different cover and text. So be wary of that. It's got more faded colors, and it's just not nearly as vibrant. But it's a very interesting anime, and it talks about, struggles after war for a soldier, and it's kind of reminiscent of Gunslinger Girls, where these young children are kind of trying to understand what it means to live life normally, despite their unusual circumstances. And so Violet Evergarden has a phenomenal dub. Some people criticize it, but I find it very nice. And in addition to the anime series, which is quite short on Netflix, there's also a movie, and there's also a special, which is about a 7-minute long but I found the movie to be just another episode longer in a way, and not that great. The main series is what's best about the show. It's a great recommendation for people that might not be as into anime, because it does away with a lot of the common tropes, and has very believable interpersonal relationships and interactions, and it tries to be very emotional and kind of tear-jerker, and it's got amazing sound, amazing art. Kyoto Animation is one of the best animation studios in the world, and they have worked on a lot of different titles. They have a great reputation. What's really sad is Kyoto Animation, for those who don't know, had an arson attack in 2019, and a lot of people died, and a lot of people who worked on Violet Evergarden died, so they were recognized and credited in the movie, and it's one of the most horrific things that happened in Japan, and it really shook the anime community at the time, and so it's really sad. The lives lost, and the talent lost, and so it's this is kind of their legacy, is this great work that they did. This art book is really nice because it has so much sketches in addition to typical painted settings in art books, and it's just jam-packed. Like, all these pages have so many different characters and expressions, and if you see the blue and red, that's kind of different cues for animators. This book is in Japanese, and can't read Japanese, but I can still appreciate the art. Would have been great if there was a translated version of these, but just even having a art book is great. Just to have something on the shelf to represent the anime, and it's really unique. There's not a lot of anime that you can compare to Violet Evergarden. For anyone who was interested in some kind of Violet Evergarden merchandise, or wanted to see the content of this book and get a sense of if they want it or not, this video is helpful. Now, being in Canada, it's not readily available, and so I got this book online and on the secondary market. But if there is a way to purchase it and support Kyoto Ani and the people involved, then of course the official channel is the best way to purchase it. So that was all the different characters, and chapter 2 is model sheets and props. The dog that was given to Violet, and the gem that she values so much, and the typewriter. Violet's one of those shows where it could actually be a live action adaptation done very well. If you know, anime is notorious for having very poor live action adaptations, and everyone always worries when their beloved anime gets a live action, because they don't know, usually it's really bad quality. But in the case of Violet Evergarden, the acting would be incredibly difficult, but in terms of the actual filming costs and things involved, yes, making a older period environment that's beautiful would be challenging, set design and that, but in terms of the actual effects, there's not too much in the way of extravagant combat and things of that nature. So, you know, oftentimes it's people taking a train, taking a car, visiting someone, having a deep conversation, and so that's what really comes across, and it can be interesting to see Violet Evergarden live action. I'm sure there's all kinds of challenges involved in the rights for it and things like that. Maybe I should be careful what I wish for, because a poor adaptation ruins a show, and if it's poorly done, it's better off just as is because it's so incredible. So better not to ruin a good thing then. But as long as the community is aware of what's good and what's bad, you can avoid bad adaptations. A little bit of a spoiler for the ending, without actually saying anything, but the ending is open-ended, and I wonder who it is that Violet sees. It's kind of interesting. Let me know in the comments below. Of course, if there's any other merchandise that comes out, I'd be very interested in getting it for Violet Evergarden. So if anyone knows of anything that might be getting released soon, or pre-orders for any kind of figurine, there are a lot of figurine channels on YouTube that I pay attention to. A lot of people have expressed interest in a figurine for Violet Evergarden, and there is an argument that it's not that kind of show where you're, necessarily idolizing Violet, or, but I don't think that's the only reason to have a figurine. I think it's, another representation of something great on your shelf, and when it comes to an interesting character with an interesting design and designing clothing and hairstyle and all that, it makes for a nice choice. Backgrounds, yes. It's so intricate in the kind of details they go into here. Hopefully it comes through nicely on the camera. I realized in my last video was auto-focusing a lot and also getting too bright, but hopefully it's easier to see this time around with my adjusted settings. And then there's that clock tower with, or bell tower. The show has an interesting concept about exploring this idea of connecting people together that have a hard time of communicating, or they're far apart, or they're uncertain what the person they're talking to might really be thinking. And these are very universal. They apply to all ages, and both for characters and time periods. It's one of the big strengths of the show, is exploring that. hard to see because of how the book is curling. And for any artists out there who are looking for inspiration on designs, this is just a very interesting book. And then you see a lot of these different settings. The book is doing a great job of not spoiling the actual events. So you could even look at this before you watch the anime. Of any anime that might remind you of Violet Evergarden, and a similar recommendation. I'd love to hear about that as well, so let me know. Interesting how they translated the headings, but not some of these other notes. Maybe for something that's part of the image, it's a little different, but if it's these footnotes here, it could have been in both languages or and it really does look like a movie while you're watching a series. It's so beautiful. Not a lot of shows consistently look so nice with backgrounds and characters, and you can really see all the love that went into this show. That was it. The official design works for Violet Evergarden from Kyoto Animation. And here's the back. Here's this. So this jacket is plastic. Nice see-through plastic that protects. This is kind of cardboard with a glossy finish. So here we go. Violet Evergarden. I hope you enjoyed this, and let me know your thoughts. Thank you for watching.